Let's bring in our think tank tonight. Joining us tonight in Lansing, Michigan is criminal defense attorney Mary Chartier, and in studio, criminal defense attorneys Michael Bixon, Fallon Stokes, and Bjorn Braunvon, who joins us, who's from Florida and an expert on death penalty cases there. Great to have everyone here. First question. We have dealt with a series of criminal defendants who have been convicted in death penalty cases, yet were spared the death penalty. One man who described himself as a homicidal maniac, asked for the death penalty, didn't get it. Another man who murdered 6-year-old girls and a 3-year-old and their mother and put up no defense in the penalty phase. And the jury unanimously spared his life. Another guy, Grant Amato, who took the life of his mother, his father, and then tried to frame his brother for their murder and killed the brother to make it look like a murder-suicide. He was spared the death penalty. So the first question for all of you, why do you think that this defendant got the death penalty from this jury? Why is he the worst of the worst? Bjorn, I'll start with you.
I mean, the jury indicated that it was based on the cold, calculated aspect of the murder, the planned murder, the hiring of hitmen basically to kill his wife. I think that was the reason why they ended up voting 12-zip for death.
What do you think, Fallon? What was it about this guy, about Mark Sievers, that puts him in that category now of the worst of the worst? That's who ends up on death row.
Yeah, I think I agree with what was just stated, is the fact that it was a murder for hire. I mean, this was his wife, the mother of his children, and he made a decision to hire his friend and another individual to take her life. And I think they see how heinous of a crime this is, and that a mother was taken from 2 young kids. So I think that was a significant factor for this jury in considering the penalty phase.
You know, Michael, you've been with us through a lot of these cases, and this is the first time since we've relaunched here on Court TV that a jury's come back and said death.
It is very surprising, and I think this highlights really the fickle and random nature of what's going to happen whenever you pick a jury. You never know. You could have the strongest or the weakest case in the world, but when it goes before those jurors, you never know for sure what's going to happen. It is always a roll of the dice. And when you're talking the death penalty, even more so. This is by far from the worst case that we've seen. By far. I mean, I'd probably even say maybe even and it's hard to say the least worst or something like that whenever you're dealing with the loss of a human life. But compared to the other ones we've seen, I'd certainly put it in that category. And then, yet this is the only one to get the death penalty. I think that goes towards my argument that you never know.
Yeah, Mary Chartier is joining us out in Lansing, Michigan. This is, the death penalty is very personal for family members, for jurors as well at that moment. But here you had 12 that agreed this man is the worst of the worst. Your thoughts on why you believe this jury said death for Mark Sievers?
Well, I agree with what everyone has stated, but I think when we look at the facts of this case, compare it to some of the other heinous cases that have happened, this is the reason why there are such flaws with the death penalty. It's not applied consistently, and there are real concerns about when it is applied and who it is applied to. This is a heinous crime, but he definitely is not the worst person who has been convicted of murder.
You know, I think one of the huge factors here is the impact that this crime is going to have on these 2 girls forever. You know, we talk about victim impact, but no greater impact than you take 2 little girls' mom, and you're the one who did it. Yeah, but how do you think all of that plays into this? And what is the ultimate impact of a death penalty verdict on those 2 girls for the rest of their lives? Daddy's now on death row.
I can't imagine it makes it any easier for them. I mean, if anything, I thought the whole issue of the children went towards him receiving life, not death. Because now they've already lost their mother. Now they're going to lose their father as well when the state kills him. I mean, I can't imagine that anyone says that they're better off without him at all.
Bjorn, what happens? I mean, let's say these girls at some point of their lives may want an answer or may want to communicate with their father. Will they have that opportunity? How does that work when someone's on death row down in Florida?
Well, you remain on death row for quite some time normally. So there will be some opportunity for them to meet with their father in the future if he's on death row. I think the daughters is definitely the key to potentially saving his life. I agree with Michael that, and I think maybe one of the things that might be wise for purpose of the Spencer hearing and maybe should have been presented to the jury is testimony from expert, not so much about how dad ends up in this situation, which is normally what we would see, but from experts as to how is it going to impact these girls? How is it going to affect them and going forward? It's going to be very difficult. It's going to be very traumatic, and I think it's a strong consideration for life.
Absolutely. All right, when we come back, folks, we're still going to break all this down. A lot to try to figure out here because it's so complicated and so many mixed feelings with this verdict coming both obviously from the defendant but also from the victim's family tonight. We'll be right back.
Could someone be stealing your identity or hacking into your phone or laptop? It can actually happen from across the room or from thousands of miles away. Or a company you trust with your personal information could be breached. Your information is in more places than ever. You need more protection than ever. That's why Norton and LifeLock are now part of one company, providing an all-in-one membership for your cyber safety. New Norton 360 with LifeLock gives you identity theft protection, device security, a VPN for online privacy, and more. Cyber criminals keep looking for new ways to steal your personal information. You might not even know it until it's too late.
Someone filed my taxes under my name. $6,000 was sent to some anonymous person, some anonymous bank account.
They got into my bank account and my cell phone. What else do they have?
With threats all around, you need 360-degree protection. New Norton 360 with LifeLock gives you all-in-one protection against today's new threats.
I've got two industry leaders coming together to help protect my identity and my devices.
Why not have that added layer of protection so that you can sleep well at night?
Join now and use promo code MyPromo to save 25% off your first year. All Norton 360 with LifeLock memberships include LifeLock Identity Theft Protection, backed by our $1 Million Protection Package, and U.S.-based restoration specialists who will work to fix problems. Award-winning Norton device security for multiple devices. A VPN for online privacy, securing your connections whether you're on public Wi-Fi or at home, and more.
You never know where cyber threats are lurking these days. Don't wait to become a victim. Here's how to join.
New Norton 360 with LifeLock.
Call 1-800-431-2264.
Or visit lifelock.com/mypromo. Use promo code MyPromo to save 25% off your first year and get a free shredder with annual membership. Call now.
Banking with Chime is very easy. I feel like I can finally trust my bank. There are no monthly fees. I get paid early. I always have peace of mind that my money is in the right place and in good hands.
Start banking with Chime today at Chime.com.
With the money I've made on Poshmark, I've been able to pay for all our family's vacations.
I could pay for my wedding just on what I've made from Poshmark.
I've made over $10,000 and I was able to buy my new car.
Download the free Poshmark app now.
Best Fiends. Collect JoJo and tons of other cute characters. Solve thousands of fun puzzles. Download Best Fiends for free today. That's friends without the R. Best Fiends.
Attention cancer victims who use the weed killer Roundup. A federal jury unanimously found that Monsanto's popular weed killer Roundup was a substantial factor in causing cancer. You may be entitled to substantial compensation. If you or someone you love used Roundup and were diagnosed with cancer, call the number on your screen now. Don't wait. There may be time deadlines to file a claim.
Call 800-549-6270. That's 800-549-6270.
If you're behind on your mortgage payments, threatened with foreclosure, denied a loan modification, or have been the victim of a predatory loan, the Stop Foreclosure Group can help. You have rights, and we have options. Call now for a free consultation.
Someone's demise. I cannot celebrate someone's death. The most important thing to our family was that Mark was guilty and that he will never be able to hurt anyone in my family or anyone that comes into his path. that is not convenient for his life. I never doubted for 1 second that he was guilty. I know with every fiber in my being, and I knew that 4.5 years ago. And I have not spoken about it. I needed justice to play out, and the press has been very respectful, but I felt like I had to come out and say that this man is a sociopath, and he is where he belongs. And I want to move forward with my life, with these two beautiful children that my mother and I are raising. And I don't ever want to look back on this again. I just want to go forward and love them and be positive. That's what my sister would want me to do.
It's impossible to sit through this trial and not think about those two girls. Hearing this verdict, I guess, how are they doing today? What do you want everybody to know about them?
I just want everyone to know that these are two absolutely spectacular girls. They had a remarkable mother, as you heard today. And all of my sister's great talents, spirit, and gifts have been instilled in those girls. And if there's any two girls in the world that can come out of this like stars, it's these two girls.
Does this feel like justice for your family?
It feels like justice, but it's hollow because it's all so terrible for our family. It's so terrible for Mark's family, and we have tremendous compassion for them. Thank you. That's all.
And that was Teresa Seaver's sister. And you can see how difficult all of this was for the family. Think about what they've been through. You go back 4.5 years, the murder of Teresa, and then a year later, Mark Seaver's arrested for that murder, something they suspected all along, but finally putting the pieces together. Then they've got to sit through the trial of Jimmy the Hammer Rogers. He gets convicted of second-degree murder, and then they have to sit through this trial. And remember, in each trial, they have to listen to the testimony of Curtis Wright, the man who wielded that hammer and took the life of Teresa. Let's bring back in our think tank tonight, and we've got a lot to talk about. Let's talk about what it's like for the victim's family, Fallon. This is not going to be easy for them. This is, and it's not going to be easy for the girls as well. This is something that will continue to be a part of their life.
It's going to be ongoing, especially with, him receiving the death penalty. It's going to take time before that even happens. So you just got to think about these girls could be adults by the time he actually, if he is killed based on this sentence. So it's going to be a hard time for them just to sift through life, hopefully, trying to still have some type of relationship with their father moving forward, as well as their father's family members. I mean, you have two sets of families that are just devastated. And I think the sister, she said it best, it's a hollow victory. It's that, it's no winners here because it was such a heinous crime, a heinous death for this woman or this individual, and for these children to have to suffer through that, losing one parent already to death and then another one that they may lose to death in the future. So that's going to be hard.
Mary Chartier is with us in Lansing, Michigan. Death penalty cases are never easy. Everyone has mixed feelings about it, and we heard from Teresa Seaver's sister. They weren't bloodthirsty folks. They wanted a sense of him being held responsible. Seemed like they were very indifferent about all of this. What's the big picture here? Give us a big picture of where we are right now in terms of the death penalty and how it sort of is part of our justice system in some states, but not in other states.
I think the death penalty is waning and, in my opinion, should be waning. Because you'll have cases where people seem to be clearly guilty, but we know that people have been exonerated when they've been on death row. And then in those situations, the real murderer has been allowed to walk free all those years. There's certainly no justice for the victim's family, nor is there justice for the person who's been wrongfully incarcerated. You're never going to have that certainty across the board when you're imposing the death penalty. You can't take it back once you take someone's life. So the big picture is, I think the death penalty continues to wane. And also for these girls in this family, personally, I just don't see how killing their father is going to give them any peace in their life. I think, if anything, it's going to give them more turmoil.
Bjorn, you've had clients exonerated from death row. I mean, you've done that work. Right. Explain what that is like. I mean, no implication here that this guy is innocent, folks. He's guilty. I mean, we watched the trial here. We have cameras in the courtroom. We got to see and hear everything. This is a discussion that's beyond this case at this moment. Just want to make that clear. But what was that? What was that moment like for them? And from your perspective, what does it tell you about our system of justice?
I mean, the exoneration moment obviously is unbelievable. I mean, the emotions similar to when you're sentenced to death, but now it's a relief that not only are you going to not be sentenced to death, but you're going to walk free back into our society. And the bottom line is we make mistakes. As society, we don't always get it right, and particularly in gruesome cases, in cases where the community is screaming for justice and revenge.
Well, let me ask you this. Two people exonerated from death row, right?
Right.
Do you think it was the scrutiny of the fact that it was a death sentence that helped the exoneration?
Absolutely, absolutely. I have faith in our appellate system, but I believe that the scrutiny, when it goes before the Supreme Court on a death penalty case, is greater than when it's not involving the death penalty. But
I mean, that's I mean, I don't know if it's irony, I don't know what it is, but the fact that someone who gets sentenced to death may have a better chance of exoneration is kind of, if an innocent person is sentenced to death, they have a better chance than an innocent person who's sentenced to life.
Being exonerated?
Yes.
Or
being exonerated. That's what, like someone who's wrongfully convicted.
Well, whenever you're.
And that's not what we're talking about in this case, folks. We're not talking about this being an example of a wrongful conviction. Far from it. I saw and heard all the evidence along with you.
Well, it shines the spotlight on the case. And for something like this, I think what goes to what we were speaking to about earlier with the kids, this isn't something where he's just going to be serving out his life sentence and that's going to be, no. The light is going to be shine on this case, and it's going to continue to shine, and they're going to have to continue to deal with this. And I think when you're dealing with any type of case,
and you're wondering if that's almost cruel and unusual punishment to the victim's family.
Absolutely. They're going to have to deal with this over and over.
As we go to break, I want to take a look at Teresa's mother, who spoke so eloquently today, talking about the loss. I don't want that to be lost on anyone, because Dr. Sievers was a wonderful person, did so much for others, and we really got to learn that and feel that today from the testimony of her mom.
I have lost my dear Teresa, my precious girl who I loved beyond measure, and one of her brothers and sisters, and her many friends. We have lost our Teresa, the light of our lives, the star of our family, who loved us all so fiercely. It has been hard for all of us to go on with our daily lives. The void is unimaginable. She was our strength, our inspiration, and our caretaker. When we didn't know what to do, Teresa wouldn't hesitate to tell us, even if we didn't ask, and even if we didn't want to hear the truth. She was our rock. She was our joy. We have all lost so much. Not only have we lost our Teresa, but my children have lost the mother they once knew, because a big part of me died with her on June 28th, 2015.
This is Court TV.
The network designed for true crime.
No justice! No peace!
He had to shoot to defend himself.
Something was not right here.
What does the jury need to find the truth?
It's a very stressful situation.
We are bringing you gavel-to-gavel coverage.
You'll see and hear all the evidence.
We heard 911 calls. I need help now!
The truth will always prevail.
This is Court TV.
Your front row seat
to justice.
Hi, Linda. Looks like you've got a prescription to fill. Any idea how much that's going to cost in there? The exact same drug that's $10 at this pharmacy is $150 at this one. GoodRx finds prices and discount coupons on every prescription. Just input the drug name and instantly find savings at virtually every pharmacy in America.
Next. What can I do for you? Here's my prescription, and I have a coupon from GoodRx. Nice price.
Stop paying too much for your prescriptions with GoodRx.
Attention parents of children diagnosed with cerebral palsy, Erb's palsy, or another birth injury. If you suspect a medical mistake may have occurred at or near the time of birth, your child may have important legal rights. Call Science and Kirk for a free legal consultation. Cerebral palsy is a permanent disability that may be the result of brain damage suffered during pregnancy, delivery, or shortly after birth. A failure to follow the proper standard of care may be the cause of your child's injury. A lifetime of medical treatment can cost millions of dollars. Protect your family and find out whether financial compensation may be available. Cases are also being investigated for children diagnosed with Erb's palsy, also known as shoulder dystocia or brachial plexus injury. If you suspect your child's disability could have been prevented, obtain a free consultation and case evaluation.
Call 1-800-892-9109 for a free consultation.
Wow, you look great.
Thanks.
I mean it, you just don't age. Have you had some work done?
No, but I started taking a new supplement for women called Lumiday Radiance Within, and I really noticed a difference.
Introducing Lumiday Radiance Within, the total beauty supplement designed by women for women. Claim your complimentary 2-week sample today. Just text BEAUTY to 369369. The key ingredients in Radiance Within are clinically researched to bring back youthful glowing skin, fuller, shinier hair, and stronger nails.
I noticed my wrinkles less, I'm less hungry, and I even...
Even what?
Well, let's just say things have heated up with Paul.
Now I have to try it.
Sound too good to be true? That's why we're offering a complimentary 2-week sample so you can see for yourself. Just text BEAUTY to 369369. Do it now and we'll also include a free trial of Lumiday Youth Rejuvenator to help you feel younger and get the best sleep of your life. Text BEAUTY to 369369. You've got nothing to lose but the years.
We are the dreamers.
We changed the world.
Because we don't give up.
IU can help you live your dream.
IU is an online college, so your campus is wherever you want it to be.
Take classes when you want to take classes.
You receive the tools you need at no extra cost.
Even a brand new laptop and tablet to use in school.
Call IU, then tell them your dream.
1-800-706-8981. 1-800-706-8981.
A lot of reaction tonight to the recommendation of death by the jury down in Fort Myers, Florida. Mark Sievers convicted of the murder of his wife, the mother of his children, and today the jury during the penalty phase unanimously said death for Mark Sievers. He'll be back in court in January for the final hearing in front of the judge. In the meantime, a lot of reaction on social media. Let's get right to it with our think tank. Melody writing, good, as he deserves it. But this death penalty thing confuses me. A person can kill his parents and brother or kill 3 children and an adult and get life, but a person can hire, not physically carry out the crime, someone to kill one person and gets death. Something about it doesn't seem entirely fair. Michael, what do you think about that?
If you're looking for consistency, don't look at our justice system, because you won't find it. And not just in the death penalty, but for almost every other crime as well, especially when it comes to sentencing, you see disparity everywhere. I mean, it's the way it is. And I think that goes towards the nature of whether or not we should or we shouldn't have it. Because in an imperfect system...
Wasn't part of this disparity the discretion that a judge has? Like the federal system tried to fix all that disparity by having guidelines, and this is the exact sentence you get, right? According to the calculation, and they threw that out.
We have all sorts of guidelines and factors and it doesn't matter. As we've seen in the other cases, ultimately it's up to the jury, and there's always going to be discrepancies in these cases, always.
Jeff writing, Mark Sievers received the recommendation he deserved. However, I think a miscarriage of justice was done when Wright got 25 years and Rogers will get no more than life, and they actually beat this lady to death. I was the foreman on a jury that ended with a death sentence. I assure you it is not as easy to do as one thinks and something you will never forget. Let me ask you about that, Mary. The fact that we had 3 defendants in this case. You had Curtis Wright he's going to get 25 years. He's the one who cooperated, but he's the main killer physically. He's the one that picked up the hammer. He's the one that looked into her eyes as he struck her with that hammer. And Jimmy Rogers was the one who was helping him. Rogers up to life. Sievers just 25 years. Not Sievers, Wright just 25 years. Mark Sievers gets the death penalty. Does that make sense, or is that a miscarriage of justice somewhere along the line?
I don't know that it's a miscarriage of justice. I mean, Sievers is the one who sets it in motion. So arguably, he is the most culpable, even though he's not the one who's actually carrying it out. But I understand where people are looking at this and saying the gentleman who actually killed her, they had their hands on her, they looked in her eyes, as you stated, they're getting a lesser sentence. They'll be able to walk free, and then Sievers will actually be killed himself. But that inconsistency is a part of the justice system. I don't think that you can ever get it out of the system, no matter how many guidelines you set. There's always going to be people getting sentences where others think that they should get less or more. I mean, that's just part of our system.
Susan writing tonight, I'm seriously surprised. His expression never changes, but how long will it actually take for it to happen to get the needle? And when was the last time someone was put to death in Florida? Bjorn, let me start with you on this. How long generally does it take from the point of where we are today to when a defendant is finally executed?
So I think the average time in Florida is 15 years, although I think the majority of the people on death row have been there for 20 to 25 years. So it's a long time.
It's a long game.
Yes.
It's a long game. Now, we've got some information for you that we dug up on the death penalty down in Florida. I just have to find that piece of paper. Where did I put it? Oh, my goodness. I had so much information for you tonight. All right. The last time someone was put to death in Florida was actually this year. There were 2 of them, and I believe the last one was in August. But I have some more stats for you. We'll get to you in just a second. In the meantime, let's get to the next email. Here we go from our next post. Dolores writing, I think this was an emotional verdict due to one of the female jurors crying when Dr. Sievers' mom was given her impact statement. I thought the judge should have picked up on that. As Judge Kyle stated, they were making a decision on a human life. Because this juror was so emotional, I don't think she was in the proper mindset to give a just opinion on a verdict and should have been replaced with an alternate. What do you think about that? I mean, is that a problem? We got a crying juror during a victim impact statement.
I think that definitely is a problem. I mean, like we said, with the victim impact statement, it's allowed before the sentencing phase, but it's not to be considered for death. And obviously, you saw how emotional Teresa Sievers' mother, her sister, they both spoke eloquently about, their relationship, their loss. But at the same time, that's emotional. And this is a huge decision for this jury to make. And at the same time, these jurors are human. So if they hear these words, it's not surprising that they may get emotional. They may start crying. So I think that's something that highly needs to be considered, especially in phases like this when people have been sentenced to death.
All right, I've got some information. I did find the paper. Okay. The last person sentenced to death row in Florida was Donald Davidson, murder, kidnapping, molestation. That was back in September. He pleaded guilty in his case, so the trial was just about the penalty phase. The last person executed was Gary Ray Bowles, the I-95 killer, murdered 6 people, executed August 22nd, 2019. He also pleaded guilty, so the trial was all about the death penalty. Let's see, 2 men have been sentenced to death in 2019. Sievers will be the 3rd. 340 men on death row. Now there will be 341. And 99 men have been executed in Florida since 1979. Some of the numbers coming to us out of Florida. Let's get back to those statements. Kem is writing, wasn't expecting that. He will meet his maker. He better pray for God to have mercy on his soul. But he sat there with a grin and laughed and talked and drank water. He didn't shed a tear until he knew his life was done. He will sit for years on death row for years. He will appeal it and drag her poor mother through more. At this point, tell the truth. If you did it, tell it, and then ask for forgiveness from her family. Is there any chance that he could do that? Have you ever, could a criminal defendant, whether it's at some point of the appellate process or maybe at this hearing in front of the judge, where he says, okay, I did it. I'm sorry. I accept responsibility. Have mercy on me.
They can do it, and I've seen it. Whether or not that's going to change the circumstances is a totally different story, and the answer is typically no. But can they ask? Sure, of course, and they can certainly say that they did wrong, and I've seen it, but it doesn't mean the circumstances are going to change.
Now, I didn't represent criminal defendants. I was a former prosecutor. Did a few cases that were thrown to me. I was in a firm that really didn't do criminal work. But criminal defendants, after they're convicted, they all hold on to that appeal, that notion of the appeal, right? That the case is going to be overturned.
Well, you know, I had a high-profile capital murder trial in Florida a few years ago involving a young man who had shot and killed a police officer. And from the day he was taken through the Sally Port when he was arrested and throughout the case, he apologized. He expressed how bad he felt to the victims' families. The response from the public, the response from the sheriff was that it wasn't real. Fortunately, the jury, I think, recognized that it was real. And in his case, he pled guilty. He gave up his right to appeal, and his life was spared. So, I mean, it can be very effective. Remorse can be extremely effective. The problem is, in a case like this, where you had a trial, the state is probably not going to be inclined to agree, even if they were approached and said, listen, we'll waive all appeals if you agree to a life sentence. But big picture, for the girls, for the daughters, that would probably be the best scenario.
Best scenario. And the bargaining chip there is the appellate process, because then the state doesn't have to go through it, or the family doesn't have to go through it.
Yeah.
Lindsay writing tonight, I hate the way the verdict is read, but I think he got what he deserves. He may not have done it himself, but he plotted and gave the word to carry out the brutal murder of the mother of his children. I agree with Lindsay so much. I hate the way this verdict is read down in Florida. To me, it is torture for not just the defendant, but the victim's family as well, because you're hearing, it sounds like he's sentenced to death 3 or 4 times before you get to the final word, and it's difficult to follow. I mean, can Florida fix that? Mary, let me ask you. I mean, you were listening to that verdict, you had the earpiece there. Was it the most confusing verdict at the end that you've ever heard?
It was totally confusing. As it was going on, I kept thinking, well, he's not getting death, and he is getting death. It was very confusing. I agree with you. I think they absolutely should fix that. But there's no good way, I think, almost to read a verdict. Anytime you're waiting, I mean, you're just waiting for the end words. Every lawyer knows that. It just seems like it goes on forever.
Bjorn, is there any way to fix that down in Florida? And I say just because I've been watching the people in the courtroom, the defendants, even their attorneys and the victim's family, and it's such an emotional moment. And even tonight, I mean, before it was actually a death sentence, Teresa Seaver's mother thought it was death.
You know, I think the particular findings that are set forth in the verdict form are extremely important. It helps the jury understand how significant it is and how you had to unanimously get through each step. And if just one person says no on any one of those steps, then it's life. Death penalty is not an option. So I would say, no, the verdict form can't be changed. Now, how it's being read, how it's being presented to the jury, I think that could probably change. It could be shortened. A judge could review it, and there could be a shorter version that's actually read when it's announced. But the findings have to be made.
Yeah, it's so confusing and almost inhumane. We have the reaction video we're showing? Okay, let's keep an eye on him because he seems confused too. Watch, he mouths the words, "Is this death?" He does not even know. Let's take a look. Yeah, so you've even got, like at that moment, I just think it's fair to everyone involved that it should be clear whether or not it's life or death. I mean, and I understand all the court decisions that went into crafting this thing, but I mean, someone should just take a step back down at the Florida Supreme Court and actually read this or watch some of these verdicts the way they happen. And I understand all the legal aspects of it, but there's got to be a better way to do it. Are you with me, Bjorn?
I mean,
I understand. I understand all the things the jury has to go through.
Right.
But is there a better way to word it, just to make it clear to everyone at the moment?
I think there's a better way to present it to everyone. I think there's a better way where the court can, in fact, present it in a more succinct fashion.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put together a compilation of all these death penalty verdicts as you watch it and send it down to the folks down in Florida so they could just kind of fix this thing anyway. All right. When we come back, today was the ultimate sentence for the ultimate betrayal and the ultimate crime. But was justice served? My think tank will answer that question when we come back.
Don't look good.
Yeah, it looks like it's both. Just what I don't need.
This is what you do need. Complete the application within minutes, and if approved, you may get the money you need as soon as tomorrow. Money's on the way with CashNet USA.
Best Fiends. Collect JoJo and tons of other cute characters. Solve thousands of fun puzzles. Download Best Fiends for free today. That's friends without the R. Best Fiends.
Non-attorney spokesperson. This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by Nightline Legal. Cases assigned on a random basis to participating law firms. See disclaimer for law firms. Attention all women who have been diagnosed with ovarian cancer. If you or a loved one used talcum powder for routine feminine hygiene and later suffered from ovarian cancer, call right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. The use of talc-based powders has been linked to ovarian cancer, and many large manufacturers of talc-based products failed to properly warn women that the use of talcum powder could lead to ovarian cancer. If you were diagnosed with ovarian cancer, or if a loved one even died from ovarian cancer, talcum powder may be to blame. Call right now. You may be owed significant compensation from the manufacturer. Call Nightline Legal to speak with an experienced attorney to determine if you may qualify. If we don't win, there is no fee. There are time deadlines to file a claim, so don't wait. Call right now.
1-800-510-2403. Again, that's 1-800-510-2403.
Hi, I'm Hanno. I created Gabi because most people overpay on car insurance. Gabi is a free tool that saves you money by finding the best deal. Gabi users save more than $800 per year on average. Go to Gabi.com and stop overpaying for car insurance.
Non-attorney spokesperson. This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by Nightline Legal. Cases assigned on a random basis to participating law firms. See disclaimer for law firms. Attention all women who have been diagnosed with ovarian cancer. If you or a loved one used talcum powder for routine feminine hygiene and later suffered from ovarian cancer, call right now.
Call 1-800-721-7408.
Are you tired of back-breaking scrub to clean your messy bathroom, toilet, and tub? Well, stay tuned to get a free state-of-the-art Scrubtastic Power Scrubber from Clorox. You heard that right. Free.
Introducing Clorox Scrubtastic, the cordless rechargeable power scrubber that uses over 300 scrubs per minute to get rid of dirt, grime, and debris quickly and easily. You'll love how your tile shines after the first time you use Scrubtastic. Clorox Scrubtastic has the power to break down caked-on, dried-on, rusted-on messes. Use Clorox Scrubtastic power in the shower to erase hard water stains, calcium, lime, and rust. Use your favorite Clorox cleaner, and Scrubtastic makes your tough cleaning job simple. Look how lightweight and easy it is to control as Scrubtastic cleans all around the bowl. Watch as Scrubtastic gets in to clean all those nooks and crannies in bathroom sinks and fixtures. And Scrubtastic is rechargeable and easy to store. Plus, with the extension handle, you can comfortably handle any job high or low. There's no better powered cleaning tool for stovetops, kitchen sinks, and metal grates than Scrubtastic. Take it outside to clean window trim and tracks and make rims shine like new. Call or go online now to get the complete Clorox Scrubtastic Power Scrubbing Kit that includes 3 brush heads for any surface, the extension handle, the charger, and storage hook for the special TV discount price of just $39.99. But hold everything, because we want everyone to experience the revolutionary cleaning power of Scrubtastic. We'll give you a second complete Clorox Scrubtastic Power Scrubber Kit absolutely free. Order now and we'll even give you free shipping. That's right, free shipping. That's 2 complete Scrubtastic cleaning kits with free shipping for one low price. Your satisfaction is 100% guaranteed because you know you can trust Clorox. Call or go online now at CloroxScrubtastic.com.
I swung the hammer and I hit her. She put her hands up to fight back, defend herself. She said, why? Yes, we came there to kill her.
911, what is your emergency?
I'm at a friend's house. She's a doctor, and she's dead on the floor.
Dr. Teresa Sievers was found bludgeoned with a hammer inside the home she shared with her husband, Mark Sievers, and 2 little girls.
This was a very safe neighborhood.
2 men are already behind bars for the murder prosecutors say was planned and paid for by her own husband.
I've known Mark most of my life. He approached me and told me that he needed to have his wife killed.
Mark Sievers' wife is dead. He wants to know why.
Why do we cling to relationships that we know no longer serve us?
I asked what he went down there for, and he said to make money.
The couple had 5 life insurance policies worth several $1 million.
I asked him how he's gonna make money, and it was murdering Mark's wife.
There was turmoil in the Sievers marriage.
The only option that he had was for her to die.
And today the jury spoke after finding him guilty of the murder of his wife, Teresa. Today the jury sentenced him to death, coming back with a death verdict, all 12 jurors agreeing. So the question tonight, was justice served? Let's bring back our think tank, and we begin in Lansing, Michigan with Mary Chartier, criminal defense attorney. Was justice served today?
No, I don't believe justice was served today. Obviously, I'm an opponent of the death penalty. I think as a society, when the government gets involved in killing our citizens, justice is never served. And listening to the victim's impact statement about Dr. Sievers, she seems like such a remarkable woman who had so much compassion for everyone. I don't see how this honors her memory. I don't think this is justice for her to kill Mr. Sievers. Mr. Sievers was convicted. He'll spend the rest of his life in prison if there's no death penalty imposed on him. I think that would be justice.
Bjorn Bromvang, criminal defense attorney. Was justice served today?
No. I've been there when a client of mine was executed, and it's a barbaric act. It has no part in our justice system. It has no part in civilized society. And it's harmful to the victims' families. There's no closure. There's no finality. Life in prison and dying in prison on natural causes is justice.
Fallon Stokes, criminal defense attorney. Was justice served today?
I don't think it was served today. I mean, I think the jury got the verdict correct based on the circumstances and facts in this case. But, you know, when the government gets involved in taking the lives of citizens, and I agree with Mary, I think that's something that they should not do. You have a mother, like I said before, that's already gone, 2 children that lost their mother, and now they're going to lose their father. I think a better response would have been life in prison in this situation. And now you see another individual's life being taken based on the jury making this decision, the finality of it.
Michael Bixson, criminal defense attorney. Was justice served?
No, not at all. I don't think there's any way that you can ever justify murder, whether it's done by the defendant, whether it's done by the state, in this case the state of Florida, and at the end of the day, whether it's 5 or 10, 15 years down the road, 20 years down the road, at some point, if he loses all those appeals, they are going to be killing him. And I just can't conceive of any way that that's ever justified. So no, I don't think justice was done today.
From my perspective, justice is getting to the truth. The truth of the matter is this man's a murderer. Then a jury has to follow the law. They were instructed on the law. That was the first thing they asked for, was a copy of the jury instructions today. And they found there were no mitigating factors for this man. They found the aggravating factors. They followed the law. And by following the law and getting to the truth, justice was served, in my opinion. Now, folks,